Hi friends, it's Sally. I wanted to talk with you briefly about spiritual discernment, which is an amazing tool, especially related to changing negative thought patterns. Spiritual discernment is simply paying attention to the inner movements within us, our thoughts and feelings, and how they move us one way or the other. They're either moving us toward God or away from God, toward more faith, hope, and love, or diminishing faith, hope, and love in us. Or simply, we might think of it as what is giving us life and what is taking life. And learning to pay attention to these movements really helps us to discern how God is leading us and how God is calling us toward what is going to be life-giving. And consolation basically is anything that lifts our focus away from us to others, that fills us with life and energy. It energizes us. Consolation makes us feel close to God and to other people. It restores our balance and gives us vision and gives us energy. But desolation, on the other hand, does the opposite of that. It turns us inward. We become very self-focused and unable to see the needs and the desires of other people. It cuts us off. It makes us want to isolate and pull away. It can become consuming and cloud our vision and drain us of energy. So it's really helpful just to even recognize these differences and begin to recognize when we're being pulled toward desolation. But then how do we move out of it? I want to share with you 7 steps from a book by Margaret Silf called The Inner Compass. These 7 steps are so practical and so effective in helping us to change negative thought patterns and move toward consolation. So here they are. Number 1, tell God how you feel and ask for His help. That sounds so obvious, but I think so often we hold back because we think, well, a good Christian shouldn't think that way or feel that way. But the truth is, God already knows, right? And He loves us just as we are. God wants us to bring our authentic selves because that is what leads to true intimacy. Number 2, seek the companionship of others. We were created for relationship, and we know this. That's why this pandemic, this isolation in this pandemic is so hard, because we long for that connection. And that's why it is so important for us to be intentional and reach out in the ways that we can, because we need companionship. Number 3, don't go back on decisions that you made when you were in consolation. In other words, desolation, such as maybe in a pandemic, is not a good time to make major life decisions. Those should be made in times of consolation, not times when we're self-absorbed and not, we're going in this negative spiral. Number 4 is stand still and remember what connects you to God. The things that help you to feel close to God and to feel connected, those are the things you need to do when you're in desolation, to help move you back toward God. And then number 5, recall a time of consolation, a time when you did feel close to God, and relive that in your imagination. It's an amazing thing. The imagination is such a gift, because even if we're not feeling close to God, we can recall a time when we did and relive that, and it will have the same effect on our physical bodies and our brains. I just find that amazing and fascinating. Number 6, look for someone who needs your help and turn your attention toward them. That really helps us to get our minds and our focus off of ourselves and onto others. And then number 7, repeat these 6 steps as often as you need to get the momentum going to move back toward consolation. And then there's just one other thing I'd like to leave you with, and that is that consolation and desolation are not necessarily happy and sad. You can have a variety of emotions and be in either one. For instance, you could be grieving the loss of someone you love and still feel like you're being drawn to God or depending on God and feeling like you're growing in God. And that would be consolation, even though you're very sad. Or you could be very happy doing all kinds of things that are not good for you and that are causing separation in your relationship with God or others, and that would be desolation, even though you might say you were happy. So it's really about paying attention to those inner movements and how we're being moved toward life or away from life, toward God or away from God. I hope this is helpful. I hope you'll use these 7 steps the next time you find yourself in that downward spiral, and that it will help you to move back to connection with God. Blessings and peace.